Welcome to a special coffee with yours truly, Adrian Hannah Dragon, for a review. We're gonna have a movie review, coffee time. I'm also doing laundry, so it's probably on Facebook. It's probably gonna be a brief, short expose in a rock and roll style. First and foremost, I wanna extend, utter my gratitude. I'm grateful, thankful that my rent's fully paid my rent for the month of April, April 14th, April. Rent is paid, electricity bill is paid, and got food, and you're truly independent artist, athlete, and activist, plus other dimensions to that trinity of A's, artist, athlete, activist, adding other dimensions, being a geopolitical analyst and theorist, a great, super, and excellent geopolitical analyst and theorist who's not perfect. Far from it. And on the menu today, we're gonna start off with a movie review. Coffee with yours truly, Dragon. Gonna review the movie John Wick. And chapter 4, John Wick, chapter 4. Before I proceed, I want to say a little bit of shout out because if I would have a radio show, 1 hour radio show, or a television show, it wouldn't be 1 hour where I would not bless and thank and send some rock and roll for the farmers of Quebec, Label, Province, Canada, North America, for across Canada, because everybody got to eat, even Wall Street. I said, as everybody got to eat, even Wall Street. Yes, I said, everybody got to eat, even Wall Street. Please, Wall Street, if you do make a million buying, selling stocks, futures, options, puts, it is 1:43 p.m. here in the EST. You got 3 more hours to go rock and roll until 4:30. So please, the call of the heart from this economically, financially, commercially struggling artist, activist, and athlete in debt $10,000, but a grateful thing without my rent paid. A call of the heart to please give for food security. Of course, 10% of a million. Give 10% if you make a million. All millionaires and billionaires calling to give 10% of a million, which is the equivalent of 100,000. You can divide it by four different causes. 10% of a million is 100,000. 25,000 you can give to food security, 25,000 for LGBTQ youth services, and 25,000 for women's sports season, 25,000 of course for environmental causes. Let's say to plant a tree for every tree that is being cut down across the collective North American civilization. Yours truly right here. Movie review, John Wick. Thank you, farmers, butchers, bakers, nurses, doctors, grocery store clerks, daycare workers, firefighters, public security workers, bus drivers, IT workers, plumbers, all the cooks, feeding all the population of this collective North American civilizational complex, and all those making a sandwich, a burger, a pizza, fries across this collective for us to build, maintain, and upgrade civilization. Thank you to the infrastructure workers now doing around about Mount Royal, the headquarters of the Dancing Goddess and the Dragon Kingdom, doing some renovations, building some, of course, more steps and more roundabout with some concrete and some steel and some iron with brains and muscle, of course, which brains and muscle has been required and will be required for us to build, maintain, and upgrade civilization. And brains and muscle were required for us to build civilization. And civilization has its privileges. We all utilize different privileges when we utilize a different portion of our collective civilization, such as the roads, the highways, of course, the subway system, the public transit system, of course, farming and food security. And every day since I had COVID 2020 back in early February until about mid February, I was very, very sick, triple vaccinated. And please increase in hygiene in public is also one of my call to all willing, loving all citizens to increase in hygiene in public. Super important to still wash their hands, disinfect when we touch a screen or touch money or whatever it is. Of course, when I go touch goods in a grocery store or the bank teller, the bank machine, we press the buttons. And public hygiene is important because when we step outside, as I am right here in my underground room, office, and temple, literally, which I'm about to clean for the third time this week, spring cleaning, special purification, reordering, and restructuring my room, office, and temple here, which also served as a gymnasium, turning it into a special dancing goddess and dragon kingdom barracks, which, of course, the dancing goddess and the dragon kingdom is yours truly's dream for the rejuvenation, rebirth, security, and defense. Defense, coast to coast, ocean to ocean. To the east, we got the Atlantic. To the west, we got the Pacific. And of course, for the rebirth, regeneration, and for pleasure and purpose and joy of Quebec, La Belle Province, Canada, coast to coast, are my policies and theories, which I'm calling their implementation thereof, and all willingly living and throughout the North American Civilizational Collective, aka the Collective North American Civilizational Complex, because Quebecers, Canadians like myself, Quebecer, Canadian, North American, I'm a North American, I'm a Canadian, I'm a Quebecer, and yes, I'm a part of the World LGBTQ Rainbow Nation as well. I desire and wish and call for world peace. But of course, I'm operating from Montreal, Hawk Island, this metropolis island surrounded by a big river with 2.5 million people, one of the biggest cities in the world in North America, and the second biggest, most populated metropolis in in Canada, coast to coast. We're 40 million Canadians now. Yours truly is at 1:46 p.m. We're gonna rock and roll tango, do some John Wick movie review on the menu and on YouTube. I'm gonna put this video on YouTube now, live streaming on Facebook. Of course, we're gonna continue cleaning the other side as we cleaned to the north, the room of Sun Temple, the north side of the room of Sun Temple, the south side, and a little bit of the east, the west. So now we're gonna clean the northwest, northwest, east, south of this room of Sun Temple underground. Cannot have open doors. If I would have something bigger Monday to Friday, I would have open doors, but I would be busy doing more workouts, more training, more exercising, more dancing, because dancing is my favorite sport, and as the Dragon Empire and the Dancing Goddess Kingdom, which are one under the sun and the stars and on earth, for the rejuvenation, regeneration, and rebirth and pleasure and purpose of the Quebec, Canada, La Belle Province, Mexico, United States, and the of North American civilizational complex. John Wick was a good movie, but first, before I do a review, I want to say again our gratitude, thankfulness, and I'm gonna go grab a cup of coffee. I'm grateful, thankful that my rent's fully paid for this month of April 14th. 2023, according to some variance in timeline, whatever we consider year one, year zero. Let's make it year one of the Dancing Goddess and the Dragon Kingdom 2023. And I'm laying the foundations to that dream for world peace and North American unity, prosperity, and rebirth and regeneration of the complex of North American civilization. And my dream, the Dancing Goddess and the Dragon Kingdom, I'm laying the foundations, I'm financing it, in other words, with trillions of kisses. A trillion is 1,000 billion, a billion is 1,000 million. So kisses credited from the forgotten goddess, the goddess starlit heaven, who sent one kiss to her sister, who dances with her brother the sun. And by that dance makes creates all fruits, vegetables, and legumes, and grains that our brothers and sisters farmers harvest for us to make up, great, and maintain civilization. Thank you, farmers, truckers, butchers, bakers, all production and food, the food security. So by those kisses, 718 trillions of kisses, I am laying the foundation of the dancing goddess. Allies and armies pledge your allegiance. Legions are my family de facto. So yeah, I can make you kiss millionaires, because a trillion is 1,000 billion, a billion is 1,000 million. And thus I got a lot of kisses in credit, credited with the condition to freely distribute to all my willingly loving allies and armies, so I can over time kiss all my allies and armies, pledge your allegiance. Legions, my allies and armies are my de facto family, right here together, for coast to coast, ocean to ocean, for rebirth via action. And love is also action is my philosophy. As one of my philosophies is, of course, that the body is a temple for pleasure and purpose. And how do we invest in the body? By working out, training, and exercising, as working out, training, and exercising has been, is, and will continue to be my medicine and therapy of choice. And I'm calling all to support, of course, the implementation of my Trinity and theories, and of course have been, and will continue to call for the mass financing of citizens across the North American civilizational collective to work out, to train, and exercise, to incentivize fitness, as fitness and working out, training, and exercising regularly for this independent fitness captain has been and is and will be my medicine and therapy of choice. Lost more than 77 pounds, created my own workout training program system, which I'm advocating the inclusion across high schools, across the whole school system of the North American civilizational complex, for as young as 7 years of age. I believe as young as 7 years of age, one can be able to do my workout training program system, which requires no equipment, which is easy, effective, and simple to pursue and to do, and which increases general overall fitness. As I've done more than 350 sessions of my own created workout training program system, which requires no equipment. So I'm advocating for a public-private partnership via the Dragon Army, because fundamentally all my theories, my philosophies, my protocols, and the implementation of my Trinity of theories, which I'm calling all to support, volunteer, join, and bless thereof, is for a fundamental public and private partnership, a PPP, what's called a public-private partnership, as I am a pro-labor and love universal revolutionary centrist, a North American Quebecer Canadian artist, athlete, and activist, and geopolitical analyst and theorist, and independent psychological theorist and analyst, and sexual independent analyst and theorist, and sometimes go together, psychosexual analyst and theorist, and universal spiritual teaching student who says that the word goddess and was being born, incarnated, reincarnated in previous past lives and incarnations, and who died during COVID is not being rebirthed. Personally, there's nothing that I want to go back to pre-COVID. as I'm being reborn now with every cup of coffee, every step, every marching step, every push up, every dance that I do, every sun salutation, sun salute 93 for my 93 nation, love under will. Let your legions, allies, and armies are my de facto family. And of course, I will to heal myself and to see Quebec, La Belle Province heal and regenerate and some joy and some uh, unity and love and more love, 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 because it always brings me joy to see people. Yesterday on the march, it brought me so much joy to see people holding hands and kissing and hugging and making out, that love, love, love. Because otherwise, what are we fighting to save civilization for is the question. And I got love for my brothers and sisters in the Canadian Armed Forces, as it was, of course, my United States Armed Forces. Got love for y'all. NORAD, NORAD, NATO, NORAD, NATO, NORAD, Dance Tango, Wood Dragon Army, PPP, and of course, I got love for you, but my brothers and sisters in NORAD, Armed Forces of Canada, United States, and NATO members, and of course I was and I served in the United States Army in a previous incarnation in a past life 156 years ago, Dawei, 718 miles south of Hawk Island, Montreal. I've served in the United States Army in a previous incarnation, past life. So I was born twice in the United States of America post 1776. Now yours truly right here in this underground room office and temple. I got love for NORAD, and I'm hoping for a public-private partnership and calling for a public-private partnership for all institutions and organizations and governments in a non-sectarian, non-dogmatic, and non-partisan manner across NORAD and across North America and NATO, NATO, NATO. Of course, my brothers got love for you and the troops of NATO, that west side. But my message to the generals is pretty straightforward and direct. Sometimes I am, my brothers, generals, shaving your head and putting on a uniform doesn't make one worthy to fight in the cause of freedom. I got freedom tatted here, but I admit by myself solo, my hands are too tiny, or tiny feet and a tiny little androgynous little scar-clipped dick. Sometimes on occasion, very rarely gets rocking bigger, but that's another story for maybe after past midnight, blah, 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 blah. We're gonna go John Wick, Chapter 4. John Wick, Chapter 4. John Wick, Chapter 4 on the menu. Thank you, farmers, 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 because everybody gotta eat. Farmers from Rabel Province sending some LOV, some big hugs, big hugs, big hugs, big kisses, offer kisses. First, I got to offer kisses to all my allies and armies. Then hugs by the trillions, kisses by the trillions, tickles by the trillions, and some brains and some muscle and some rock and roll. Art and action, because love is action with it, as it is record-breaking heat temperature. Yesterday, we broke our heat record here in Hawk Island, Montreal. It went to 27 for the 13th of April. Never seen anything of a record-breaking day yesterday, and I broke my first record for the first more than 5 hour march for 2023 as well. I'm going to continue to march to the mountain on this 93 new day ride journey which have begun. I march to the mountain as I'm cleaning my office room temple, and nothing that I want to go back to pre-COVID. Want to implement my DRT debt fusion theory, taking all private and public debt to create what I call the UE. UE stands for Universal Exchange Unit, preferably by biometrics, the hand, the voice, and the unique biometric identifiers. So I'm calling my astrological brother Bill Gates to support Astro Brother Scorpio, Astro Brother Scorpio, Scorpio, Scorpio. Gonna get some cup of coffee and we'll be back with John Wick. And grateful, thankful for this coffee. Holy, sacred, and divine, and I bless it. Yeah, and I'm grateful, thankful that I also got some honey, so we're going to add some honey. Got local honey from Quebec. Thank you to the farmers and the bees. Big kisses to the bees, bees, bees. Do not recommend trying to kiss a bee. Do not recommend trying to kiss a bee. Disclaimer. Not recommend trying to kiss a bee. Disclaimer. I'm not liable for any damage whatsoever, as it is put in the disclaimer of the video. Rock and roll, hard rock and roll. You do watch and listen, and instructions at your own risk and peril, as the disclaimer goes. Thank you, farmers, farmers, farmers. Gonna put a little bit of honey. And we got some honey from the bees. Thank you, the bees and the farmers. This is local Quebec honey. Local honey from Quebec. Québec de la belle province de chez nous. Du miel de chez nous, de la belle province. Bienvenue. Du miel de chez nous, de la belle province. Bienvenue. Du miel de chez nous, de la belle province. Bienvenue. I do, of course, I'm a Quebecer. I'm a Canadian. I write, I sing in French. I love French. I love Montreal. I love my belle province. And I'm a Quebecois, I'm a Canadian, I'm a North American who lived in many past lives, many incarnations. But right here, rock and roll, 1:56 p.m. That is 1:56 p.m. That is 1:56 p.m. That is. Start of it. Honey time. John Wick Chapter 4. First, before I proceed, please, Keanu Reeves. I don't know how much Keanu Reeves made. Probably in the millions to make the movie John Wick Chapter 4. Please, my brother, artist, Keanu. Have some good dialogue for the next movie in potentially John Wick Chapter 4. It's John Wick Chapter 5. It's kind of implied at the ending. Again, disclaimer, I don't want to spoiler alert. I don't want to give a everything away about John Wick Chapter 4 or John Wick. If you haven't seen the trilogy first, I recommend before going to seeing John Wick Chapter 4, I do strongly recommend, suggest, and urge that one does go see in the John Wick chapters, the first three chapters. So John Wick is mysterious figure. Of course, John Wick is the name of the character, but we find out in the movie that John Wick is not actually his first name or whatever the case may be, and it seems that of course there's a lot of mystery surrounding that. But then John Wick Chapter 4, I'm gonna say I liked it very much overall. I wouldn't mind seeing it again. I would see it again this time after I see again the trilogy, because I think I have to watch the trilogy again. I think the first movie, John Wick Chapter First, the first movie of John Wick, it was 2014, I believe, 2014. So more than 7 years ago. It was like more than 7 years ago. More than 7 years ago. So it starts here with a John Wick trilogy, which I recommend that one must see in order to understand the timeline and where we are with John Wick Chapter 4 in history and the events that interplayed the development of the story and the whole type of a universe within our universe, because of course it's mention of New York, Paris, and Cairo and other cities around the world, and of course different countries around the world are mentioned in different locations such as real New York. So there's not the locations, they're not fabrications, they're real locations. Now the other organizations and institutions which exist within this underworld and type of parallel world to our world, and how the assassins operate, and the criminal organizations, and of course all the criminal organizations, the underworld, and of course the operations within this world, which is set with certain rules and disciplines and rules and lots of rules within the operations of the codes of the assassins, of course the killers and the criminals that are involved running different criminal organizations, sometimes at odds with each other and fighting against each other and what have you. And of course what's called the table, which is kind of a semi-mystical in a way, because I do find that there's a lot of so much mystical spirituality, almost religious like atmosphere, and kind of ritualized affairs within, of course, what's called the Continental, which is a hotel where all the assassins, the criminals can go for refuge, and there they're not allowed. There's a strict rule that the assassins there on the grounds of the Continental, there's no business to be conducted, whether killing or whatever. There's no business to be conducted. It refers mostly to killing, assassinations of the underworld within itself. So different criminal underworld groups and different criminal underworld gangs and different criminal underworld organizations are at odds and are killing. So other groups would deal with whatever prostitution, drugs, arms trafficking, gun trafficking, and all the things that are going under the table and illegal, of course, in the illegal underworld crime world that's going on. So is a John Wick is of course played by Keanu Reeves and is the main character of the movie. Of which one thing that is kind of about him, he's laconic. A reference to that, he's stated as being a man of few words, but a man of will, and one of a lot of skills, especially in killing and in fighting skills. But even in the movie John Wick, he doesn't speak a lot. Even when he's asked questions or when he has a dialogue, conversation, there's kind of very direct, straightforward, and very simple and very unsophisticated, almost very simple. What's called term laconic in that terminology, to very be a few words. So I didn't count the whole words during the movie that John Wick was saying, but nonetheless, it was played very good by again one more time again for the fourth time. Keanu Reeves as John Wick. Please, Keanu Reeves, my brother, donate some of those millions you were paid. Probably, I'm assuming it was you made John Wick 4 and you made a contract or you made a deal for a few millions. I don't know how much. It's probably the information, financial information is out there somewhere. And well, now we can get close to whatever it is. I suspect it is anywhere between 1 million and 30 million. It's a big gap between 1 million, but I would say around a few million nonetheless, maybe 10, 20, maybe even more than 20 for John Wick 4. 30 million, wow, that would be 30 million for a movie. A few months, what it take when it started to film, so what, 3 months maybe to film it, maybe more. And it came out released a few weeks ago, and I saw it a few at the cinema. Maybe a few days ago it was released. When March, April? Was it released in March or early April? I don't know how. I'm not sure when it was released. I know I went to see it. My anonymous sister friend, if I make a me, I'm gonna give her half. Went to see it. Today's the 14th. We went to see it Tuesday, so that was Tuesday 11th. Tuesday the 11th and 12th. Wednesday. Yeah, Wednesday, Thursday, 13th. Today's the 14th. So the 11th. I went to see it on the 11th of April. So 3 days ago, Tuesday. Tuesday 11, 12 Wednesday, yesterday 13, and now today is the 14th of April. So 3 days ago I went to see it. Not bad at all. Really, really. Pardon? Yeah. So the atmosphere is again very similar to a bit John Wick 3. That those lights and colors which intermix, which is the filming with a kind of a darkish atmosphere. And of course, it left off. That's why I strongly recommend, for it the movie John Wick 4 to make sense. One would have to see the first chapters. So John Wick, the first John Wick, John Wick chapter 2, and John Wick chapter 3, and then John Wick chapter 4, as it's called, chapters. And it ends, not spoiler alert, it ends with the implication, of course, that there will be a fifth chapter, because it's some things are left unresolved and kind of mysterious. So it is kind of that implication, and whatever else. I don't want to give too much away. So nonetheless, the acting was good. I really like the interplay of course, Lawrence Fishburne makes again as the kind of the king of the beggars, who has an organization of beggars and throughout the New York City. And supposedly from this movie, we learned that he's expanded, he's branched out, franchised. And it was a bit funny because during when Lawrence Fishburne was speaking, I was imagining a little bit of a dialogue, a little bit more flavor, street dialogue, if you will, which I would have included into it. And of course, myself as a guest special appearance of coming to Lawrence Fishburne, and just for about 7 seconds, I would have appeared and I would have said something, hey, and would have done like a sign, something would have a sign, and Lawrence Fisher would have said about me, don't mind that. Don't mind that, fella, or something like that. Something more colorful, more strong. Don't mind that. Perhaps maybe motherfucker. Don't mind that motherfucker. Don't mind that motherfucker. But nonetheless, would imply that I'll be working with Lawrence Fishburne on some something. So of course the acting was good. The fights were very good, and one specific place and one of my favorite parts of the movie. A lot of different parts which I liked a lot more than others, of course, but one of the favorite parts of the movie was, and again, I don't want to spoiler alert, you got to see the movie for yourself, is when they go to Berlin, when he goes to Berlin on the chase, right? So of course the movie starts with him, John Wick, of course, seeking the revenge, as he wants to finish off where he's left off. And of course, so of course the different organizations which interplay in John. Perfect, perfect, perfect. Yeah, the second load, I think I put it on. I wash the duvet usually on the. I'm doing the laundry now. I'm doing the laundry now. I'm doing the laundry. I wash it on the. It takes less. Takes about half an hour. Takes less time on that specific. Doing a second laundry today, big cleaning. So the acting was good, and one of the scenes of the movie was in Berlin at a rave, and I said, "Huh? No, I'm just recording. I'm doing a review of John Wick 4, the one that we saw Tuesday." So when there's a scene in the movie where there's different colorful characters, of course, which new characters are introduced, and again about the mysterious organization who kind of runs the whole affair in a strict, regimented, rule-based type of way. There's lots of rules, and these rules must be expected, and oaths that are due, and dues, and regulations, and rules, and laws, almost to a very kind of semi. It seems in a way theocratic, like a theocracy in many ways, because the names are such as consecrate, reconsecrate, deconsecrate, excommunication. These are all words which are usually used in was more in the Catholic, in the papacy, right? The papacy. My pope is the son, by the way. My pope is the son, by the way. My pope is the son. My pope. So I'm not related to that in spiritually or in any way like that. But nonetheless, it has that feel, and the words imply this mystical, spiritual, semi almost religious, because there's words to deconsecrate the continental and the hotels where the business is conducted with strict rules, and the rule, one of the main rules is that there's no business to be conducted on the continental, and they also have their own currencies. Their own currency, right, is part of the John Wick whole of a whole trilogy and the whole universe. And of course in the movie is also showed there's an appearance of somebody who's called a marquis were of course royalties from the ancient times, right, ancient times, which were tied in many ways in Italy and in France, with and in Belgium, I believe, and in other European royalty tied in with the papacy, the Catholic with the papacy, and with the France, and of course afterwards there were Catholic Protestants. But nonetheless, it has that feel of a theocratic, royal, like of hierarchical based structure of the whole organization, which is called mysteriously the table, and it's referenced several times in the movie that said we are all under the table, we are all under the table, we are all under the high table, as it's called, with different persons and representatives of the table who bear these names. And in the other chapters, you also see other representatives who bear different names, such as the executioner, and there's Marquis, as is in this one, and of course the representatives have these names which are tied into royalty, and even to their actions are tied into what called related to in the names of the in the papacy, the excommunication, right? Because when it says to excommunicate something, it's from a religion, or from a location or whatever have it. That's communicated from that organization. So they have a lot of these terminologies. So John Wick is of course the main assassin, or the main character, who's played by Keanu Reeves, and of course the other characters are some are more important his relationship to him, and some appear with the new organizations or new criminal underworld gangs which appear, and some of them, of course, are or he has this mythology around him that he's very respected and feared for his ways of being able to being a great killer in many ways, a super fighter and super killer in many ways, and he has a lot of friends as well in the organization, and at odds. Sometimes they're at odds. And in John Wick Chapter 4, he has to fight an old friend who is kind of blackmailed by this marquis person who represents the mystical and the secretive high table, which kind of runs the whole organization from the shadows, or from the backline, or it's in a hierarchical manner. So the marquis, of course, the marquis, you have his representatives, and his power, his authority to represent and to take action on behalf of the table. And there's a sort of a blackmailer or a debts. There's people who different assassins or different groups, they owe each other debts for actions or for unresolved. And one of John Wick's old friends is contracted in order to go assassinate, to go hunt for John Wick, to go kill him, and they have that relationship interplay. And of course, you have a new sort of like is the same. They have like the Continental in New York, which is this big fancy Royal Regal like hotel where assassins and members of the underworld congregate, and there's no business to be conducted there. That's strictly for their dealings, and when they're there, they're just there for fun, for recreation, for pleasure, for drinking, for partying, from whatever it is, all those pleasurable joy activities. When they're on the continental grounds, there's no killing, no business, no fighting whatsoever. Those are strict rules, and breaking those rules, even if they're top assassins, it means that they would be hunted and killed to the point of death. So it's very severe. So it's very strict rules on the Continental. And another hotel seem to have hotels like the Continental in New York all over the world. And they go to Osaka, Japan, where one of John Wick's friends, and he gets defense and gets kind of refuge, gets kind of a safe house there in the Osaka. And when even the Marquis, his representatives, come and so that they come to represent the table, and they're being in defiance, and they have to fight. And again, spoiler alert, spoiler. I don't want to get much more, but one of the I liked very much liked enjoyed the dialogue in the movie. I liked the action. The Of course, the story was pretty good. The story with the several interconnections, and the characters of the Marquis was pretty well played, and of course the characters were well played. And the Winston is John Wick's friend, but there's controversies in John Wick Chapter 2, John Wick Chapter 3. There's consequences, and because John Wick, of course, breaks the rule of the Continental. Spoiler alert if you haven't seen John Wick 3, he breaks the rule and he's excommunicated because of breaking the rule. But Winston kind of has a little bit of, a little bit of favoritism. They're friends, but nonetheless, Winston has to also take action because otherwise, if not, Winston is deposed and killed. And so there's strict regulations and rules, which. Can I bother you to read the instructions for me on something I can't see? Yeah, sure. I'm recording, so. Well, can you turn it off for a second? I can come to the door. Come then. Yeah. Ne brûlez pas la bougie plus que 4 heures à la fois. C'est tout en français. Ne brûlez pas la bougie plus que 4 heures à la fois. Pour éviter les incendies et les blessures graves, brûlez la bougie avec vue. Avec quoi? Vue. So, keep an eye on it. Tenir à l'écart des courants d'air et des vibrations. Tenir à portée des enfants et des animaux de compagnie. Ne brûlez jamais de bougies sur le lit. Seul ou à proximité de tout objet susceptible de prendre feu. Coupez la mèche à 1/4, 1/4, 1 sur 4 de pouce avant d'allumer. Gardez la bougie exempte de tout corps étranger, y compris les allumettes et les garnitures de mèche. Ne brûlez la bougie que sur une surface plane et résistante au feu. Ne brûlez pas la bougie plus que 4 heures à la fois. Did you drop this? No. Sometimes? Well, but it was never dropped. It's never dropped. Thank you. You're welcome. I had to do a little bit of reading for my anonymous friend, sister, whom I masked. I asked to marry me twice. Maybe I'm gonna ask the third time this weekend, if not, seventh time, 11th time. Open BDSM switch marriage. Open BDSM switch. Open BDSM switch. One day out of 7 cuckold. Only one day out of 7. One day out of 7. Then other days, different plays. Monday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday is the Sabbath of the Dancing Goddess of the Dragon Kingdom. Digressions. So John Wick Chapter 4. One of my favorite scenes of the movie, and this favorite part of the movie, was when he goes to Berlin. And there's this, in Berlin, there's this rave. At one point, they get into this kind of, it implies from what I can detect that it's in an old factory and it has different layers, but just the techno music was the music, the soundtrack of the movie. I gotta say, as I'm doing a review, it has to include the soundtrack. Is really, really, really good. Could do a dancing for world peace. How about that? Who did produced John Wick support the Dancing Goddess Army, support the Dancing Goddess Army, the Dancing Goddess Army to do a dancing like you never seen anything like that on the specifics to dance. So I can dance like no other. Fundamentally, I'm the world's greatest living dancing millennial rainbow poet, and of course, to dance for world peace and rejuvenation and pleasure and recreation and rebirth of the North American civilizational collective and the collective complex right here from Montreal, Hawk Island, from this Hawk Island, Montreal. So yours truly, when they went to Berlin, that was one of my favorite parts, and just the setting of the rave. It's implied it was a rave because it was kind of like in an old factory, and it has several sort of layers, several stages. It has several floors, like first floor, second floor, third. I think it was about, I counted about seven, but I'm not sure, maybe more. I counted about seven total. I could see what you can detect. I counted about seven floors in the movie. Could have been 11 or whatever. Could have been 11, 13, whatever. 11, 13. That's what I remember. That's what I counted. But nonetheless, there was water flowing, and I liked how they were dressed. The garments were not that colorful, but not that dark. You know, there were a lot of black, a lot of black, some silvery gray, and there was some greenish reddish, some greenish and reddish, some green and reddish. So there was the whole feel and atmosphere of that whole rave, and they had different groups kind of dancing, but it wasn't too packed either. You know, it wasn't. So it was a part of it were packed, part of it because it was very big and grandiose, and there was music like playing rave, and they were playing, and they were so into the music and so into rave that you see them. John Wick is fighting, his antagonist is fighting with other people, is fighting there, but at the same time, the other people barely notice. At one point only, when there's more shooting and on the foot, then they notice. And some keep dancing while others don't notice what's going on, and others see it. But just, I want to experience that rave. I really want to experience such a rave like that. I want to experience such a rave. It was really, really like, wow, like the floors and with the water. So if you get over hot, or if you're on the effect of whatever it is, narcotics, or you get hot, it's hot dancing or whatever. I love hearing the youth having fun. So it always brings me double joy, and I see people running and having fun and fun, joy. I love I love bringing joy, fun to others, and I get fun and pleasure from seeing, especially our youth, working out, training, exercising, running, and being a bit wild and having fun and kissing and screaming in a good way, for fun, for pleasure, for enjoying the body, enjoying the life, enjoying the sun, enjoying the food, enjoying the company, enjoying the music. So I love singing. That's what I was hearing in from my underground room off some temple, somebody having fun. So double that fun, bless you with more fun, with more joy, with consent and hygiene, with consent and hygiene, mutual understanding and love, with consent and hygiene, mutual understanding and love. The main message is hug like you never hugged before today. That is the main message. Hug like you never hugged before today. The main message is with consent and hygiene and mutual understanding is hug hard like you never hugged before today. Because that's what I want to do. Since I survived COVID and nothing that I want to go back to pre-COVID. I understand others rush back to pre-business, blah blah blah. Please, NFL, National Football League, NHL, National Hockey League, NBA, National Basketball Association, MLB. Please, mass finance. The Dragon's Army, my Dragon Zero's independent fitness captain, call to mass finance citizens to work out, to train, and to exercise. And please, 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 give free tickets to when you play the sports, hockey, which I love, basketball, which I love, NBA, and NFL gridiron, which I love. Baseball, I'm okay with it. I tolerate, I accept baseball. Some people like it, but please give tickets to the farmers and to those involved in the production and distribution of food. To the cooks, give tickets. To the farmers, give free tickets. Give 10% every year. And that's my call for the give 10% of the tickets to the farmers, to the butchers, to the bakers, and to the truckers, and to those cooks, because everybody got to eat, even our athletes playing tonight. The hockey, NHL National Hockey League. I love hockey. Skate can't break. NBA National Basketball Association. Love, love, love. Dribble, 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 dribble. Bow. I'm too short to play. I love to watch it. Love women's basketball rocks. Please, NBA, give to the women's sports leagues as well. Give them a good check. Triple the cheerleader salaries is my call. Triple the cheerleader salaries is my call. Triple the cheerleader salaries is my call. And mass finance women's sports leagues as well. Because let's be honest, brothers in the patriarch, I'm gonna say patriarchal sports leagues. Let's face it, there's not even one women's sports league which makes even close economically, financially, commercially to what the aforementioned NFL, National Football League, NHL, National Hockey League, NBA, National Basketball Association, and MLB make. Money, money, money. Sometimes it's not about the money, right? But myself, I'm $10,000 in debt to the RBC, but I'm paid my rent for April. Grateful, thankful that I paid my rent. Grateful, thankful that I paid my electricity bill. Grateful, thankful that I got food tonight. I got a little bit of leftover. I got a bottle of wine gifted from a neighbor. I got the wine for the weekend. I got honey. I got food. I got noodles. Enough to last me about, even if I do 40 days, maybe 40 days, 40 days. If I don't buy anything, probably with everything. Everything that I got, up to maximum 40 days, I would count or have after, which I do advocate for all citizens of the North American civilizational complex to have, for each individual living in a household, apartment, or unit, to have at least for 40 days due to what's going on in the world, because those ICBM rockets built between 1947 and 1989, that 42 years, 42 years, 42 years, hundreds built by the USSR, the West and the East, East, West, West, East, and here in America, intercontinental ballistic missiles, and they could reach us from North Korea, well, not all the way to Montreal from North Korea, but up to North America could reach us from North Korea, and from Russia they could reach North America. So my advocacy now, I digress, on John Wick Chapter 4, but it would be for interconnected North American NORAD upgraded defense satellite Starlink, and of course public-private partnership only for defense, defense solely from the east to the Atlantic to the Pacific, from the east to the west, North America, coast to coast, ocean to ocean, Pacific, Atlantic, Atlantic, Pacific, with satellites interconnected, and of course to intercept the North American defense, security and service dome, and North American dome of deep steel defense, and security and service dome, a dome of the North American civilizational complex that's building in the next 7 years. I'm going to bless Hydro-Quebec in the next 7 years to build seven more dams across the collective North American civilization in the next 7 years, North American civilizational complex. John Wick Chapter 4 had this amazing scene in it, and the amazing scene, how it was filmed, of course, and how the feel it got to it. And I said I want to experience a rave like that, and it looked pleasurable on different floors. People were dancing on techno music, and you had this water flow. The water flow was, of course, really just kind of beautiful and almost mystic. Had a little mystic spiritual sense to it. The whole affair. Well, for me, raves and music is mystic, spiritual, right? So dancing for me is a rite of mystic and spirituality to the sun, with the moon, with my allies and armies, pledge your allegiance to our de facto family, and of course to everything that I do as an artist, athlete, and activist, geopolitical analyst, and theorist, philosopher, world's greatest living, dancing millennial rainbow poet. And I feel to the rave though. It was so nice. It was Berlin, Germany. I know the location because he had to go conduct some business as he was on the hunt, and he was being hunted. And of course, John Wick Chapter 4 was a really good movie worth seeing. But first, do recommend that you see the trilogy, the first, the second, and the third John Wick movie. And of course, the scene in Berlin where they had that rave and the people were dancing. I really loved how they were dressed as well. Between now, not too, just not all black, not all dark, with a little bit of color in it. A lot of black and silvery gray with some red and some green. And I'm just gonna go check on my laundry because I think it finished and I have to put it to dry. So I'm just gonna put my laundry to dry. I'm doing laundry, put it to dry, and of course I'm coming back. But this scene was really amazing, and it made me say, "Wow, is that real?" I was wondering if that's a real. It could be. Berlin is very famous for techno music, which I do bang my head to and I do love. I was wondering if it's a real, actual place in Berlin. Could be, could be. I said, "Wow, so many floors, so much with the water and the lights, green lights, lots of green and red." I'll be back. Benny, the machine stopped. Yes. And another cup of coffee. John Wick Chapter 4. Really good movie, worth, definitely worth watching. But first, I recommend watching first chapters. And since I do have local honey, thank you farmers, and the bees for the honey, which I'm about to put in this cup of coffee. Honey, honey, honey. Give me some of that bee. Love me, love me, love me. With some good honey, honey, honey. Love me, love me, love me. The bees. There's a little bit of chorus of a song there. Don't steal it. Steal from a financially struggling artist. I'm gonna curse it. Let's try to steal. Just make an offer. I'm gonna make a deal. Give to charity. Give to charity. Artists, multi-millionaire artists, whether movie stars or pop stars, rap stars, rock stars. Give some food security and give some discounts to the shows, to the farmers, to those involved in the production and the distribution of food. Give a little bit of discount because everybody got to eat, even Wall Street. I would set that 10% if I would do shows, whether dancing or whatever it is. Be 10% of all the tickets will have to be given freely to farmers, farmers, truckers, and butchers, and all involved in the production and distribution of food. So be if we be 1,000 tickets, 10% is 100. If it be 10,000, right? It's 10% is of 10,000 is 1,000, right? 50,000 capacity stadium, 10% is 5,000, right? Right? You just got a zero, 10%. I would set up for free for farmers, truckers, butchers, nurses. Will be 2%. Will be a special just for the basically essential workers, essential workers. So basically, have the tickets. Multimeters gonna pay. And then we eat them when they come. At the end, we hit the rich. We hit the rich at the end. At the end of the show. Give to charity. It's good to be charitable. First charity, of course. If I do somebody first charity would be my anonymous sister friend who deserves to be. If I know somebody who would deserve to be a millionaire and a billionaire, it would be my anonymous sister friend and friend sister. Anonymous. Anonymous donations. 2:31 p.m. in the EST. Please, Wall Street, you got 2 more hours to buy, sell, trade, stocks, futures, options. But please give 10% for food security over a million if you make profit. Or if you make a million profit, they give 10% for food security because everybody got to eat. Food security first, charity, then environmental causes, women's sports leagues, and LGBTQ services. So John Wick Chapter 4 had this amazing scene in it, and that amazing scene was in Berlin at a rave, and that multi-floor stage kind of type of setting, which looked like it was because it was all like concrete and kind of like pillars, so it looked like it was in a factory. But the feel to it, I said, "Wow, something I would like to experience to go there." And how it was clustered around, it was very unique, a unique type of feeling to the whole environment. And they were fighting there, and there were several characters, colorful characters, which do appear in the movie. And of course, John Wick is not seems to be like he was an orphan. Seems to be like he was an orphan in many ways, because he doesn't seem to. His mysteriousness about who his family was, who his real family was, who his real family was, and we know a little bit about him. He has this tattoo on the back. When you see it, I was seeing previous chapters. This movie, chapter 4, that wasn't shown, and it's a motto, and it says "Fortuna's favorite sprat." It's Latin, Latin, the language of the ancient Romans, and it's basically fortune favors the bold. It's actually the motto of a city here, close in the South Shore, close, not that far. I think 44 miles, something like that, 44 kilometers from here. So called Greenfield Park. And from what I do know, from the high school diploma that I have, I was an adolescent in the city, which has the same motto as John Wick has tattooed on the back. The problem is I don't remember my youth much, my adolescence. High school, I know I got graduated from high school because I have the diploma. I got the diploma. I remember mostly the past years, and I've been struggled. I was chronically ill when I lived in another place, and was chronically ill and struggled. And now during these past years, working out, training and exercising, taking sun and being reborn. And of course, I've did a lot of education with a few years with one foot in the streets, one foot in the libraries, one foot in the libraries, one foot in the streets, one foot in the libraries, one foot in the streets. Read, still reading tens of thousands of books on philosophy, art, poetry, civilization, and also written many analysis, philosophy, poetry, rock and roll songs, and wrote, and still writing. And much of what I've written, based on USB keys, my economic, social, geopolitical, physical, sexual, spiritual theories and analysis, have been, of course, dictated, or if you will, transmitted in oral communication by me speaking, and by my dialogue, which I've been imparted in the past days, weeks, months, and years. A lot of it during COVID, more on YouTube, on Facebook, and which my philosophies, my theories, which I'm calling for their implementation, is I do firmly believe, with all the flaws, vices, and imperfections that I do have, and that my Trinity of theories could offer for the 21st century some solutions to the impasses which are having a paradoxical manner, as I've myself struggled and been depressed and suicidal. I've conquered depression, and I encourage all to work out, train, exercise, and to heal. Sometimes it's we all need a good loving, a good hug, a good massage therapy session, and a good massage therapy session, which I cannot afford at the moment. Only spending on essentials, necessities such as food, soap, and of course food to eat, for bread, butter, and bacon, and of course for soap, cleaning products, on essentials, food and cleaning products. But my rent's paid for the month of April, so it's April 14th. What 16 more days? It's almost halfway. Tomorrow's gonna be halfway. So It's April 30, 30 days April, so we're almost halfway. Let's say half, half, 50-50. I've also paid my electricity bill so I can do this video, and I'm open for business, for commissions, for sponsorship, for support. If anybody wants a movie review or some rock and roll songs, rap songs, dancing commission, and support everything that I do myself. Half of it is gonna go to finance my anonymous sister friend, who's one of the greatest English speakers I ever heard. She deserves to be top North American education director, North American education director, the prime minister, chief educational minister of the dancing goddess in the Dragon Kingdom. Nominate my anonymous sister friend. It's 2:37 here p.m. in the EST. In the EST now, and somewhere somebody now is hugging, and that gives me hope. Somebody somewhere in Montreal, Quebec, and throughout this North American civilizational complex, whether high school for the first love, spring love, going into good summer love. I'm gonna make a lot of loving for the first time during this summer 2023. The high school love, and that gives me hope. And that's why I wanna live to see it. I wanna make a rock and roll or rap song, so that he can make some good loving on that song. And that's what I. Because it's not all about the money. It's not all about the money. It's not all about the money, you know. Otherwise, what are we fighting for? Mr. Ryder, Mr. Millie. 4 or 5 star now, 4.5 star general, 4 or 5 star general. Patent. Through a glass darkly, through a glass darkly. Freedom is something new still. It's got, like I said, when if I step outside in the public, I'm no longer just private citizen. In my underground room off Sun Temple, I'm a private citizen. I can turn everything off, get naked, start dancing on Tekashi 6ix9ine, Celine Dion, Beyonce music, or soundtrack of John Wick music. But I gotta still continue my cleaning because I don't want to keep on procrastinating. I've done procrastinating for years and procrastination. But this week I did cleaning, and I have that corner, the northwest corner to clean today. It needs some cleaning, so I'm gonna get on to it. But I'm just gonna wrap up the John Wick Chapter 4. Really good movie. I rated him about an 8, which is pretty good, 7.7 sometimes. But that scene was just so amazing, and I'm curious what some other people, especially fans of rave or who have attended raves in the past or will attend in the future. I wanna hold a rave, dancing goddess and dragon empire rave every weekend, rainbow style, for world peace and for North American rejuvenation, recreation, pleasure, and purpose for the collective North American civilization. Quebecers, Canadians, for North Americans, for us North Americans, Canada, US, Mexico, US, Mexico, Canada, Quebec, Canada, US, Mexico. We invite Keanu Reeves to do some pro bono. Maybe it can be some DJ. But that setting can be recreated, of course, if we have a 7 floor place or factory like that, because it looked like it had that factory type of almost industrial, mill, like a mill, coming like a steel, iron. Yes, Crow, I know you know my secrets. I love you too. Crow knows my secrets. The Crow, knows my secrets. Said Adrian, Dragan, doing a movie review. Said, yes, I know. You know I'm LGBTQ rainbow and I fantasize about XYZ. The Crow said, I know your secret. I know you like to be called names while you suck. Yes, 1 day out of 7, I love to be called names once a week. One time, set time. LICKASS. Be called names. There you go. Now, perhaps the Secret Service knows my secret. RCMP, CISA, CIA, Mossad. Hey, Mossad, you're still far. You gotta cross an ocean. Don't cross an ocean to see me. I'm a nobody. I'm a piece of dust. Piece of dust. I was there in the past life. I met Moses. I like Moses, but that was a long time ago. It was 3,300 years ago, right? Israel was in the Bible. I met also J, yeah, Joseph as well. I was a woman. I met Joseph. I was the sister of Asenat, the one who Joseph married. Asenat, I was her sister. Kind of we were twins. So one time we did play a little trick on Joseph because we were twins. So I said Joseph was good looking. Joseph was good looking. So I said, my sister, please let me. She says, no, I'm not letting you in with my mother. Are you crazy? Please, please, my sister, please, my sister. Why are you being so selfish? Why are you being so selfish? Why are you being so selfish? I said, okay, one, I'll leave you once. So there you go. That was a past life, previous incarnation. That was a long time ago. Mr. Boutros. Mr. Herzl. Today I'm gonna finish this movie review and I'm gonna clean my room off some tempo. And I'm gonna write some poetry, write some songs, and I'm hoping that we do the implementation of my Trinity of theories, the CIT, Citizen Integration Theory, DRT, Death Row Fusion Theory, and the Democratic Fusion Theory, the DFT. That Trinity of theories to be implemented via the fourth dimension, and the fourth dimension is LOVE, because if it's love is action, not just blah blah blah, yours truly. So John Wick is chapter 4 is definitely a must see, and the battle, the fights. Sometimes there's a bit of sarcastic kind of humor, and even sometimes kind of humorous in the way John Wick's character is played. Very good, very well. Super bravo, 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 by Keanu Reeves in a way that is almost semi-sarcastic. It's a lot laconic, very simple, very straightforward, but sometimes even humorous. Like when he says "yeah," kind of like oh, makes him burst laughing, just like just the way he affirms the affirmations and a yeah. It's kind of Keanu Reeves. Please give 10% of what you made for John Wick 4. And there's a good fighting in the movie. There's a lot of gunfights and some humor. There's, of course, and mysterious because John Wick's is like I said a little bit mysterious. He has that tattoo, Fortuna Favoris Superat, which is means in Latin is a from Latin, ancient Roman. I think it's from the Aeneid. From the Aeneid, it was an epic Roman poem, the Aeneid. There were still some universities still read it as an epic poem of the ancient Roman Empire, and of course, found the foundations of Rome. It's like I'm laying the foundations right here in North America for the Dancing Goddess and the Dragon Kingdom for Canada, U.S., Mexico, our allies in the islands, Haiti, Jamaica, Dominican Republic, and Bahamas, with 718 trillions of kisses. My allies and armies get kisses me and his right away. So really, so there's that fortune favors the bold tattooed in Latin, Latin, the ancient language of the Romans, which is still spoken today by some, and we still use it. The motto of Canada, it's ad mare masque ad mare, from coast to coast or ocean to ocean, from sea. Mare is not ocean, really, it's sea, body of water, sea, right? SEA. Admar Muskin, of course, E pluribus unum and Annuit Coeptis, which comes from that same poem. Epic poem of the Romans is on the US dollar and on the United States, which all the states in the United States, more than 50 states, all have a Latin motto, MOTTO, motto. Just like the motto of the Dragon Army, one of the mottos, of which there are several, is that nobody is born a dragon just like myself. I'm not born a dragon, took blood, sweat, and tears, and doing those 300 workouts of my own creative workout training program system, which I've completed of September 29th, 2022 of last year, and to turn that A into an O, to convert and transform and change that A of my surname into an O. Dragon became Dragon. That is one of the mottos. One of the mottos, of course. One of the mottos, of course, is that one, and also that the body is a temple for pleasure and purpose, and nobody is born a dragon. And other mottos such as shaving your hair and putting on a uniform does not make one worthy to fight for the cause of freedom. And the motto of the Dancing Goddess Army, throw that DGA in the air, is, of course, all fruits, vegetables, and legumes, and grains and flowers are made, created, and produced by the dance of the goddess, Goddess, the goddess who dances with her brother the sun, which is my Pope. So that motto in that way. So he has that tattoo, Latin based, three words signifying fortune favors the brave. It's actually the motto of the city here in Quebec, La Belle Province, Canada, North America, of Greenfield Park. Greenfield Park is a city of about 50,000. I'm not sure about how many. Haven't been there in many years. Many years I haven't been in Greenfield Park in South Shore, North Shore in many years. Maybe this year I'm gonna go around about North America, some Quebec, La Belle Province, because there's so much to see in North America. I want to see the Grand Canyon. I want to see the Grand Canyon in this life. I've seen it in the past life, more than 156 years ago, but I want to see it in this life, 2023, maybe the Grand Canyon. So much things to see in Mexico. And we've been in this life. I was born in Mexico in the past life, and a few hundred years ago, born in Mexico. And of course there's so much to see. North America, Central America, South America, right, and the islands, and of course Haiti, Jamaica, Cuba, Dominican Republic, throughout the North American civilizational complex. Before I digress, the motto of Greenfield Park is the same motto as John Wick has tattooed on his back. And like I said, since been on this island for many years now, and Montreal, big metropolis. From what I remember, because I do have the high school diploma, and I know that I don't remember, but I do know that at one point I lived in Greenfield Park. That at one point I did live in Greenfield Park. I did live in the city of Greenfield Park, right? It's about 44 kilometers, 44 miles that way. So, but of course, as I died during COVID, beginning of February 2020 until about mid February 2020. So more than 3 years now since I had COVID. And when I started my workout 2019, it's been 3.5 years, right? So my workout training program, which I've created just before COVID, which was made created to go hand in hand with the World War III scenario. Again, a digression now on John Wick to wrap up on the John Wick affair. There's a character which really kind of very funny. It's a character. I don't remember the name of the character, but it's in Berlin again, and sits at this table and it kind of plays with poker hands, and it's very big character with gold teeth and kind of very funny. And he laughs. It's almost sarcastically, almost like a weird type of forced laughter, which kind of he's a funny character, although he's a gangster. He's a part of the underworld, and of course he at one point he meets John Wick and the other characters, two of the other characters, who was his friend, but who's forced because he's coerced or blackmailed that they would hurt, the table will hurt the his daughter, so he has kind of no choice to go after his old friend with John Wick to try to kill him. And of course there's contract killing on John Wick, and if you see the movie, there's always augmentation, or they're giving away more more money for John Wick to be, of course, assassinated by the table because they're looking after him. And a salute. I think that's either the public security forces or the ambulance, or of course the not the firefighters, but maybe they want to help fellow citizens. And of course, in Quebec, as a Quebecer, we have something called the Samaritan, Good Samaritan. In French is La loi du bon samaritain, la loi du bon samaritain, la loi du bon samaritain. We have the Good Samaritan, kind of a principle that we to save a fellow citizens. It's a kind of cultural context of Quebec. It's the law of the Good Samaritan, the law of the Good Samaritan, the law of the Good Samaritan that we are compelled by duty as citizens of Quebec to, if we see a, so for example, if somebody's drowning, if somebody's trying to escape from a fire or whatever, we have to try to help, in the public. Of course, if we are in the public sphere, there's this kind of public law in Quebec here, which I think that law plus self-defense, plus a third law to love and offer love and action and support my allies and armies and apply the Good Samaritan law and the self-defense. Those are the main three laws that I operate when I go in public. So self-defense at all times, only defense. I channel my aggression. We gotta I admit I have aggression, but my brothers and sisters, I channel and sublimate it. We do push-ups, we do squats, we do hawks, we work out. One of the mottos of the Dragon Army is we channel the aggression with push-ups and hugs. We channel the aggression with push-ups and hugs. We channel and sublimate the aggression with push-ups and hugs. Right? It's a constant thing. We got irrational forces moving us willy-nilly, getting angry. I was depressed and suicidal. I've conquered depression by working out, training, and exercising. That's why I have been them, and we'll call for the mass financing of my brothers and sisters to be helped to work out, to train, and to exercise. Sometimes we need some encouragement. Encourage the youth to work out, train, exercise with consent, to adopt the body, nothing to be ashamed of. The body is a temple for pleasure and purpose. I have cravings. We have cravings to get. I've been craving a massage, therapy session since COVID, before COVID. But I'm grateful, thankful that this weekend, or even tonight, before the Sabbath, or tomorrow on the Sabbath, because the Sabbath starts tonight after I clean midnight and lasts until Sunday. I have a bathtub and I have hot water, the boiler, to take a good bath, a hot bath, to stay in it for an hour or more than an hour, and to compensate or to substitute for the not being able to afford a massage therapy session, of which I'm calling to be included in the public-private partnership Dragon Army for North America, which I'm calling the foundation and the creation thereof, to be able for the dragons to be able to offer such services. I can be of service to my allies and armies, to clean, to cook, to massage, to work out, to train, to rock and roll, to paint, to do all the things we do of civilization, and to integrate across North American civilization complex, to see how everything is done, to ask questions, and to encourage citizens and youth and all citizens of all ages to see how the dams operate, how the railways operate, how of course the mines operate, how of course the fishing is done, how the painting is done, the theater, to go on the field to see everything that we have as a civilization. So John Wick has its parallel type of civilization or universe, if you will, system with different laws, but sometimes of course they operate in the world in both like two worlds, right? There's assassins who operate under the table, and when they're in the what's called the continental or the hotels, super rich affluent hotels, which are only for the underworld figures of the crime fam or the crime bosses and the criminals and the assassins, and they have to be at peace and on the grounds of those special hotels, which are part of this system organization called under, which is all called under the table, or the table, which is a table which is kind of hierarchical and has lieutenants and ministers and marquises and princes, kind of like a theocratic, based on the papal like type of system, with a head with mysterious figures. And let me give me a collective. So John Wick Chapter 4, definitely a must see. Has some funny moments, has some good action. There's also a good point again where he's kind of meeting with his family, but it doesn't kind of say. At one point, it says he has a real John Wick. His name is Jonas Jordanis, something like that, and he speaks in Russian. It's implied that he's of Roma is what's known as gypsy people, Roma, living all over the world in different countries, and of course even we have Roma people in Canada and North America as well. Of course, it could be different origins of Roma. And a lot of us, myself as a Quebecois Canadian, and many who knows what the ancestors could be, that we're part so many from our ancestors. It could be we have ourselves. Many Quebecers have as well Roma from the 1800s, 1900s, and whatever the case may be. For me, hereditary questions matter because they don't. I'm more on will and philosophy that I do have. For my allies and armies, our de facto family, pledge your allegiance. My allies and armies are my de facto family, pledge your allegiance. My AAA. Allies and armies are de facto family, and I'm a universal spiritual teaching student, also philosopher, doing a movie review of a movie which I loved, and it's gonna come another movie review. It's gonna be Black Adam. If you want to sponsor, commission movie reviews on a special movie, if I haven't seen it, I'm gonna have to see if I can see it, and a movie review with the original, maybe interjections of dialogue. What I could have been do, I would have maybe did a little bit different dialogues, because I'm an artist, so I do write dialogue. I can write dialogue. I'm writing dialogue right now. writing some good dialogue or diatribe. No, nothing diabet, diatribe of conflictual, but of course sometimes we have conflict resolutions and redemptions, and we need to have. And sort of, in many ways, John Wick is also John Wick's redemption in many ways. That's what I find the whole trilogy plus this chapter 4 is in many ways a paradox. The paradox. In many ways, kind of see with this chapter 4 that he's kind of coming to an end of his redemption for having been in the underworld, having been a criminal, but he kills and kills paradoxically also criminals, right? Also people who are not that good, criminals and crime lords and all that. So kind of way it's a paradoxical redemption in many ways for John Wick. And at one point, it shows that he goes to somebody who's probably maybe his adopted family, and he speaks even Russian. It's Russian Roma mixed with Russian Roma, I believe, from Belarusia, and he has to deal with them, and they do this ritual. There's a lot of things which are kind of ritualistic, and even from the whole organization, there's this type of very strict, regimented laws and rules and regulations, but it's also part type of fictional or ritualized events which are transpiring, and it's one of those ritualized events is with him. I don't want to spoiler, but it's a more painful ritual with involved drinking and fire and self mutilation, or being marked in many way by the fire and in a more brutal, I would say brutal manner. I don't want to spoil alert, so you're gonna have to see it yourself. So in many ways, it's his redemption, and of course the continuation of this would has a lot of philosophy as well. Philosophy about criminality, how to deal with justice, how of course sometimes gangs and criminals go to war with it. Redemption, love, friendship is a major theme of friendship, and paradoxes about blackmail, right? Because for all friends, he's being blackmailed to kill his daughter if he doesn't go after John Wick, and John Wick is very feared and he has that mythos around him, right? And that's that's or things owed from the past, and I think John Wick says, "I owe you one," or said, "I owe you." We're even. It says a lot in the movie. We're even, or you owe me one. that type of thing. You know, good movie. Go see it. If you want to sponsor, commission, finance, Dragan special, coffee with Dragan, Rainbow Dragon special, movie review. Feel free. PayPal, North America only business. PayPal, North America only business. PayPal, North America only business. Right here from this underground room of Sun Temple, this has been a special movie review with a philosophical stance for yours truly. And we're gonna rock and roll. I'm gonna go see my laundry and I'm gonna start cleaning this room, office, and temple. Thank you, farmers, because everybody get it to eat, even Wall Street. Please, Wall Street, give to charity if you make buying, selling, trading stocks a million on the stock market today. Please give to charity on the YouTube. I'm just gonna pause it because I need to go to the washroom and to get the laundry. I'm gonna come back doing some cleaning of the west north northwest west north part of my underground room, office, and temple. Give yourselves a hug with consent like you never had before is the main message, and encourage all to work out, to train, and to exercise. Because working out, training, and exercising has been, is, and will continue to be my medicine and therapy of choice. And also, please increase in hygiene in public. Please increase in hygiene in public. Please increase in hygiene in public. And with consent and hygiene, hug like you never heard before is the main message. And if you will, sponsor, commission, do a movie review, which are truly special Dragon movie reviews, which I am able to do, and or commission, sponsor, do some dialogue so I can write you a script for a movie or whatever in French and English. I learned a little bit of Spanish, so I can manage a little bit of Spanish, which I do love the Spanish language. So, but I tango, rambo, dance best in French and in English. I manage in Spanish. Be loved, be well, be safe. Gonna end it on live stream on Facebook. Share live stream. Live stream has ended 77 minutes. And now we're gonna pause it here. We're gonna put it. Never delete. See it. See it. Maybe get some rock and roll songs. Post now. Post now. Now for the cleaning of my room off Sun Temple, the northwest, north. Gonna first do a little bit of incense, and of course gonna put some music So let the music begin. Give to charity, give to charity, give to charity if you make money. Yeah. Okay, man. It's just people hug. I love seeing people hug. I love seeing people hug. It's in front of my underground room house in Denver. Brought me joy to see people hugging. Brought me joy to see people hugging. Brought me joy to see people hugging. Not anymore. 17, 18. Then you go want to go for a walk, a sunset walk at 6. Where are you going? Well, when, Betty? Yeah. Okay, that would be because I wanted just to go because I need to replay our tickets. You know. Yeah. Yeah, I could go for a ride. Thank you. Let me know when to get ready. Go to the washroom or stuff. An hour. And How much? Wow, hey, that's good. That's a lot. It's still a bit above average, eh? Exact change for the bus. Are we taking the taxi? Auctioning dirt, auctioning dirt, auctioning dirt.
Wix.com.
Really, you got mail. You both got mail. Oh, yes. Pardon? Hey, I'll clean it with a dry cloth. Oh, there's group therapy sessions in the Dracula movie? This also is a keeper, super nice. Little garbage can. I'm just gonna clean it. You know what? It's a good idea. I don't have this. I don't think so. Maybe I do have it. And then nothing available. No, no, baby. I'm gonna have many things though. Yeah. The one I went to see from them, I told you, was Viking. It's pretty good. Betty, you left a bit the door open, right? Right. Yeah, eh? Yeah, Betty?